And it's crazy that this 1,500 gem structure deck can actually keep up with this, but it can. Like, honestly, when I was making this video, I was like, this structure deck, it's okay. But no, it's actually really good. It's a good structure deck. Hey YouTube, as you can read from the title, this is going to be about the Dragonmaid structure deck, and I just took 3 copies, added a little bit of cards, low rarity, so you can craft it if you want to, and you can pretty much build this deck for essentially 1,500 gems. So let's go into the replays. I'll talk about the plays, and at the end of the video will be the deck list. Alright, one thing I want to say is don't mind the mess in the background. I just didn't make my bed. I'm feeling a little lazy. Our opening hand is pretty interesting. We have Kitchen Dragonmaid, which is a starter, which searches us out a Dragonmaid. We also have Black Metal Dragon, and I'll speed it up because I think this duel my opponent does like a really big board, and it's huge. But Black Metal Dragon can just be normal summon it, and we can link off into a link 1, which we need to craft. It doesn't come in a structure deck, but it's really, really good because it gets us Darkness Metal Dragon, which does come in a structure deck. Also, we have two Return to the Dragonlords, which is kind of like a Monster Reborn, except it only special summons level 7 or 8 dragons, but it has a really cool graveyard effect where if a dragon would be destroyed, and I think it's like multiple dragons, yeah, multiple, you just banish this card from the graveyard and protect all your dragons. So it's really cool. Another Monster Reborn like card is Legacy or World Legacy Guard Dragon. This has the effect where you can just target a dragon in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it. I think special summoning is better because you only get 1 normal per turn. And you can also switch the position of a Link Dragon, I believe, or any dragon actually. Move it to any of the zones. That's only useful for the Link one that we run in a deck. But I'm going to be quite honest, in like the 10 duels that I dueled, it never came up once. I wanted it to come up because I wanted to pull up the combo where I used the Link 1, which I keep mentioning here. I'll show it real quick because this guy's doing a really big combo. A Guardragon Pisty, where like if it's pointing to a zone that 2 Link monsters are pointing to, I can like special summon a dragon for my graveyard or banish. It just never came up. So essentially our opponent like summoned all these monsters, and his board is Appaloosa with 2 monster negates. He's gonna bring out this Baron de Fleur, which is 1 negate, and then he has this fusion monster, which, what does it do? During the main phase quick effect, you can special summon a fairy from your graveyard. And then he's not done yet, he's still comboing off. I don't know what deck he was playing. I thought he was playing World Legacy at first, but honestly I have no idea. So what happens is he brings out World Gear, and I'm going to pause here because there's a lot of effects that can happen. I believe this is not a quick effect. He only has a couple things he can stop me with. He has 2 monster negates. He has this big guy who's like unaffected by other monster effects, but it's still affected by spells. Also during his main phase, he can like destroy every monster or every card on the field, and if I special summon something, he could special summon a World Legacy from his deck. And then he also has Baron de Fleur, but for some reason he sends Baron de Fleur back to the extra deck, brings out this guy. Might have been a misplay, I have no idea. I'm gonna use Hospitality. I think I top decked this. Essentially, it's like a Monster Reborn. I have a lot of Monster Reborn like cards in this deck. So this deck is like hurt really bad by cards that don't let you special summon, like Vanity's Emptiness. But I'm gonna special summon the red from my hand, Kitchen, and then Kitchen gets to add me a card, but he's gonna negate that. Also, I get to send a dragon from my deck to the graveyard, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to send Tinkhec. And I believe this is the best level 8 dragon, simply because like he's fire, he works well with the deck. And also, some of the dragon maids are a little weird. How they can only special summon like level 8 from the graveyard or whatever. Like some of the higher level dragon maids, like the real dragon cards, that are like level 7, and some of them are really good, like the pink one, and off the top of my head, I think it's like the green one. But this one, the red lady, she can only special summon level 8, and those are level 7, so it's not going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to link into Pitsy, and then he's going to try to destroy Pitsy using like his monster he brought out with the World Legacy thing. And then I'm going to try to do some more plays here. So I'm going to use Return of the Dragonlords, bring out this big monster, enter battle phase. I want to get rid of this Appaloosa just because it's a monster negate, and I want to get Black Metal Dragon live so I can bring out my like, you know, my big guy. What is he? Darkness Metal Dragon. Also, my opponent's really low on life points. I just realized that. I'm going to make Hieratic Seal. I really do like this card. Although, I will say, the only reason I made Hieratic Seal, and I'll say it right off the gate, is my extra deck is very simple. It's everything in the Dragon structure deck, and I only added 3 copies of Dragon Pitsy. It's a rare card, super easy to craft. If you have other options, and if I had other options in the extra deck, I could have made a better play. But I was like, I want to just use a deck as it is and just add in as little cards as possible. So like you, the viewer, can actually make this deck. So essentially, I made another Hieratic Seal, which is kind of useless in the zone it is. Banish him for Darkness Metal. Darkness Metal's gonna special summon Black Metal from my graveyard and attach it so he can become stronger. At the start of his turn, like before he even does anything, because that fusion's kind of crazy, I'm going to use Hieratic Seal, which balances a card he controls back to the extra deck. I want to bounce this guy because he's like actually threatening, but his first line of text is unaffected by other monster effects. So like the only way to really get over it is through spell or through battle. So I'm like, well, if Darkness Metal survives a turn, I can just bring back another metal I believe that I have in my graveyard, or I could just like somehow search it out with like whatever, and I can boost this guy up to like 4,000 and beat over all his monsters. The thing I really like about this deck is that, as you notice, like, I really don't have that many cards, right? Like, I'm very low on cards. But Dragonmaids are just, like, really good on card advantage. Like, for instance, I drew this trap, which is like a compulse. Essentially, it's a card that target a card your opponent controls, return it to the hand, also a dragon you control. But it has a graveyard effect where if it's in the graveyard, you banish it and like special summon a Dragonmaid from your graveyard. So it's like a monster reborn. There's a lot of those. And then Dragonmaids during the battle phase, at the start of them, you just return them to your hand and special summon a Dragonmaid from your graveyard. So they have a lot, like I got a lot of advantage there. But the only thing I can't do is I can't get rid of this guy. This guy's a problem. If I can't get rid of him, I think I just lose. So he's going to enter battle phase. I'm going to do Kitchen Maid. I'm going to special summon this guy from my hand. I don't really care if he dies. I don't want Kitchen Maid to die because Kitchen Maid can bring back that guy anyways. And she also gets me another search. I draw Chamber. Chamber's pretty cool. She searches me, I believe, a spell, right? And my options for spells were I could have grabbed the fusion spell and I could have went into a fusion, which I should have did. But instead I grabbed... Oh, that's right, because I actually thought it through. So excuse me. So I grabbed the Monster Reborn like card, which is special summon a Dragonmaid from your graveyard, and then you can send a Dragonmaid with the same attribute from your deck to the graveyard. So what do? I think I special summon Parlor from my graveyard, and Parlor has the effect, which is one of the better Dragonmaids, where you can send any Dragonmaid card from your deck to the graveyard. A lot of effects, but the one that I sent is a fusion spell, and even if the fusion spell is in the graveyard, it's useful in the graveyard. I would argue it's more useful in the graveyard than it is in your hand, because I can just return any Dragonmaid I have on the field to the hand and then add this back to my hand. So that's exactly what I do. I add Chamber back and I fusion off, and he just scoops at this point. I had a lot of options to do here. Like I could have brought out the big fusion, which is 3,500 attack. I could have crashed. I could have searched out another darkness special something else. But yeah, essentially the deck has so much power. And as you saw from that replay, that wasn't an easy duel. Like I actually had to fight for that win. That wasn't just, oh, opponent sets one card, passes, and then I combo off. No, my opponent had a full board. As you'll notice from these replays, dude, the opponent actually like is playing decent viable like decks, and they spam out the board. And Dragonmaids, you would think a structure deck cannot challenge decks with Maxi or Ash Blossom and bring out these big boards. But dude, they're look. Okay, so here's a really interesting thing. He's gonna activate this field spell. He's playing Alistair or whatever, Alistair the Invoked. This field spell lets him add Alistair from his deck. There's no way to really negate this, but there is one way to get around this, and it's once he activates it, as soon as he activates it, I have a trap card, which is a Dragonmaid one, and it's target a Dragonmaid, and I can target a spell or trap my opponent controls, return it to the hand. Now, I'm not destroying his field spell, so I'm not getting rid of it, but I am removing it from the field, and so he's not getting a search effect off. And the reason I did this is because the last part of text on the field spell reads, you can only activate one per turn, which means he doesn't get his search, and he can't activate it again. So I'm like, he sets one, passes, he's like, well, that's my turn. All right, my turn, let's go. Parlor off the top. Or actually, I don't even know if I got Parlor off the top, but he's going to use droplets. This is another really cool thing here. So Downtime not only can return a spell or trap from the field to the hand, and I could have did that. I could have returned that to his hand, which I don't want to give him that back, you know? But I could also add a Dragonmaid. And as you'll see here, normally this guy would get negated because of forbidden droplets, but because he's coming back to my hand, or she, excuse me, I like the effect is not negated because she's not on the field. Droplets is not targeting anything. And yeah, it's not targeting anything. And I get to send a card, like the effect goes through. And I sent the card that's like a monster reborn in the graveyard. Also, I have the card in my hand, Ernus, and I actually do like this card a lot, where I can send it from my hand to the graveyard and special summon a Dragonmaid in my hand. And now I'm just like trying to go like off as much as I can. My opponent is, if I don't do anything, my opponent's going to be able to do something next turn, and he scoops. Now, that was just like, I kind of stopped my opponent from doing anything. Honestly, and Ash Blossom could have did the same. So that didn't truly do it justice, like I was mentioning. But there are replays, and I think this is the one that the replay is just like the duel is just like, holy crap, it's so back and forth. And it's crazy that this 1,500 gem structure deck can actually keep up with this, but it can. Like, honestly, when I was making this video, I was like, this structure deck, it's okay. But no, it's actually really good. It's a good structure deck. So I'm gonna do Guardragon Pisty. Pisty for the rank 1. I'm gonna use the Guide to bring that back from the graveyard. My real only option here is to go into Hieratic Seal, which comes in a structure deck, and essentially disguised effect. You contribute it during my opponent's turn, and return 1 card on his field to the hand. So he's playing Cyber Dragon, or maybe he's playing Cyber Dragon or something else, but he adds hurt, so I'm like, oh, he's playing Cyber Dragon. Right here, I kind of misplayed. He normal summoned, what is this, Core. Core has the effect where you can add a cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand, but Cyber Dragons have a unique thing where if your opponent has a card in the extra monster zone, where Hieratic Seal is currently, he can send my card and his card to the graveyard and like fusion summon this monster. So I did make a small misplay. I should have used Seal right now because I should have expected my opponent to do that, but I didn't. I lost a chance to do it. I kind of forgot about it. I remembered it when it was too late. But then my opponent's like, oh, I'm going to special summon Galaxy Soldier. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he forgot about it as well. So now I had my chance. And what I do is I return that back to the hand. He's going to special summon Galaxy Soldier in defense. And Seal can special summon something. He's also going to get a search off of Galaxy Soldier and of Hertz, the card he sent from his hand. So he's getting a lot of searches. The card that I special summoned off of Seal is really important. And it's one of the cards that I think it is the only card that is of high rarity in the structure deck, or that is outside of the structure deck. And that is Koa'ki Meiru Drago. This card is neither player can special summon light or dark monsters. My opponent can't special summon anything. He can't fusion, he can't link, he can't whatever. Because all of his monsters are mainly like light. All Cyber Dragons are like light. So what does he do? He just passes his turn. It's my turn. Now, I do misplay here. Because what I should have did was I should have bounced Koa'ki Meiru back to my hand and then bounced his Galaxy and then just normal summon Koa'ki Meiru, who would have been 1,900 attack, and just kept him on the board and attack. Because my opponent wouldn't have been able to get over him, like, at all. But I misplayed. I normal summoned Black Metal and I'm like, oh, I'll just go into a Link. Well, no, my Links are dark and my Links are light, so I'm not running any other Links. I couldn't do anything. That was all I could do. So I did misplay there. And I'm like, well, damn, now I have to do the same play again. At least I get a Darkness Metal Search and I have a Hieratic Seal. And if he normal summons or does anything, I'm just going to use Hieratic Seal. And off the top, Harpy's Feather Duster. So now my Dragonmaid Tidying is not live, and I kind of really wanted that. He's going to use Cyber Dragon. I'm going to bounce that back, and I'm going to special summon Drago from my hand. So now my opponent has to get rid of this card and do all his plays in main phase 2. So he's not going to be able to kill me this turn. So I'm like, okay, well, I got 1 turn to come back, you know? And then I'm just going to fast forward it. Because now that my opponent could special summon, he has like all the cards he needs. He's searching out everything. I know what's coming. He's going to bring out Cyber Dragon Infinity. He's going to probably do something else. But like Cyber Dragon Infinity is an Omni Negate. It can negate anything. So before it comes out, I'm like, okay, I'll use a trap in my graveyard. I'll bring out Chamber Dragonmaid so I can have that for next turn as a banished target for Darkness Metal. Or for like whatever play I want to do. He also does Verte Anaconda, which is really good, and he's gonna bring out DPE. So he has a formidable board. His board is not like, it's not weak at all. His board is essentially, he has Cyber Dragon Infinity, which can negate 1 card, and also if I leave a monster in attack position, he can just like swoop it up. He just takes it and it's like, it's mine now. He also has DPE, which can pop itself and pop any 1 card I have, and it comes back. So I'm like, what can I really do here, you know? So I do Hospitality, target the Dragonmaid in my graveyard. Dragonmaid gets its effect. I don't know if he's going to negate it here. He doesn't. I'm like, okay, well, I need to bait out his negate because I want my fusion to go through. But then I think I realized that even if my fusion spell card gets like negated, I can still bring it back from the graveyard. So I can just activate it again. So that's essentially what I do. I'm like, okay, well, if he negates this, I'll just activate it again. He negates it, I'm like, okay, well, that's nice, that's good. Goes through, gets negated, graveyard effect, return it to my hand, a Dragonmaid card on my field, add back to fusion, add to fusion again. He's gonna DPE here. This is a mistake on his part. I think you don't want to DPE when I brought out my fusion because I could just negate DPE's effect, but I feel like he should have still did it anyways. He did it way too preemptively. And I'm gonna bring out my big fusion, 3,500 attack. It's an omni negate. If he activates anything I don't like, boom, negate it. DPE's like, oh, I'm gonna special summon next standby phase. I'm like, I don't care. Activate Nibiru in his hand. I'm like, okay, I'll negate that because I kind of don't want to lose my monsters. I need to be able to special summon Metal Dragon. And yeah, the fusion, it negates, it brings out House Dragonmaid for my extra deck. And what I do here is I special summon Darkness Metal Dragon, and Darkness Metal Dragon has the effect where I can special summon a dragon from my graveyard. So I bring out Drago, and Drago, as earlier, opponent cannot special summon light or dark, including myself. So I'm pretty chill. I'm chilling right now. I have big monsters. No, I have no real negates, but my opponent can't special summon anything. And I think I have a Dragonmaid Tidying, so if he is able to do something like really, really big, I can just bounce a card in his hand or in his graveyard or in his field back to the hand, like protect myself. And right here, he tried to crash. I'm like, the only reason he would try to crash is if he had like Ernus, which is like he attacks and then his monster gains like attack equal to my attack. So I'm like, well, I don't want to lose Drago because if I lose Drago, I might lose. So I'll just bounce his card back to the hand. He surrenders. Here's the deck profiles. Essentially, the deck is just 3 structure decks. I'm also using cards from the bundles, such as I got 1 copy of Ash Blossom. It's a bundle card, Lightning Storm, Infinite Impermanence. I think these 3 cards are really powerful, along with Rageki, which you get in like, I believe like the first mission of solo play. It's completely free to play cards. You should be buying the bundles if you haven't already, just because they're worth it. And yeah, they make the deck a lot better. Of course, if you own more copies or more powerful cards, like you own 3 copies of Maxi, of Ash Blossom, feel free to put them in. There are a couple cards you can take out, but this video is going to be focused on the budget version. So the cards that we added, which do not come in the structure deck at all, are Black Metal Dragon. Black Metal Dragon essentially searches out Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, which is one of the more powerful cards in the deck. It allows you to special summon any dragon from your graveyard. Really, really cool. I really like Black Metal Dragon a lot. It's a super, super good starter. You just normal summon it, link it off, you get a search. Like, you can do a lot of things with that. Another low rarity card that did not come in a structure deck that we added was Guardragon Pisty. This is a link 1. So this allows you to get dragons in your graveyard without really committing too much. It has a cool effect where if 2 monsters have link arrows that are pointing to the link it's pointing, you can special summon a monster from your graveyard that's banished. Really cool. I think it never came up at all, but I mean, it's pretty cool. The best part about it is just that he extends your plays. He gets you another dragon in your graveyard or in your field, and he's really, really useful. And finally, the last card that did not come in a structure deck is Koa'ki Meiru Draco. Essentially, it's like your opponent cannot special summon. If they're playing a light or dark deck, your opponent cannot special summon. Really hard to get over. In decks that your opponent has like earth, water, fire, like let's say like Prank Kids or something, this is not going to be super useful. But in decks where you're versing like Shaddolls or Invoked or anything that's light or dark, this is really good. Another thing you'll notice is that the extra deck is only 12 cards. It's only 12 cards because I'm only using the cards that are in the structure deck along with Pitsy. If you want to add in cards like Access Code Talker, Unicorn, Powerful Links, or any other card, feel free. This is simply on an extremely budget version. You can feel free to add any card you want. This is your deck. I'm just trying to give you the best version of the cheapest thing possible. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night, and maybe I'll catch you later. Peace.